A triple play coming through on the CCFM drive. Seems like the ladies are doing it. Chrissy T there opened it up with Freedom Comes. Straight after that one, we had Realizing Equilibrium. That one is titled King of Love, and Shantae Hart with All Right. We're going to be all right. Absolutely love that song. Taking us all the way to 16:23 Central African time on Mondays in the second hour. You know it belongs to Andre, the big positive guy.
Now, of course, they are joining us live in studio. By them, I mean Tina B and, of course, Andre, the big positive guy. As Romeo has alluded, dis vreeslik koud, julle. It's very cold. Banda. How are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10?
Frozen.
This is my little hobbit friend. You'll see she's got a little hat and a little beanie, and she looks very, very nice. But you don't look too cold yourself. You're wearing a sort of a military style jacket and a warm jacket and something else underneath.
Listen, 5 layers of clothing at this point because it's just ridiculously cold. So on that note, we're all frozen.
This is what we pay for when we live in Cape Town.
Exactly.
This is our punishment.
I'm telling you, I was saying that I went to my mom's place and I literally said, please give me extra blankets and like a hot water bottle because it's just.
Yeah, no, it's unacceptable. Eh?
Yeah, it's crazy. But what we are speaking about today, of course, is something that's so important. I think, I mean, you called it halftime, Andre, but I think essentially it's talking about, I guess, reflecting back. It's the second half of the year, but also the importance of rest. I think that's what I understood it as, the importance of rest amidst the chaos.
How did you just automatically assume rest?
That's the first thing that comes to mind. When you say halftime, in the context of any sports or anything.
No.
Rest.
Take a break, take a break, have a Kit Kat.
You stop at halftime, you get yelled at.
Oh.
How are you going to do the second half better?
But I first have to rest and then get yelled at.
That's why you walk to the change room.
That's your rest.
That was the rest.
Well, I love this angle. In any case, it takes us exactly
there's
where we need to go.
lots of angles.
Yeah. Chat to us about this halftime concept.
I must tell you, I never realized, but it's been so ingrained in me. I read a beautiful book, and it's a Christian book. It's called by a guy called Bob Buford, Buford, who wrote a book called Halftime. And what he did is he used the sporting analogy. So we pick a sport. Let's just say, for example, we pick soccer. And now we're playing soccer. And then halftime, we have a thing. So why do we have halftime? So a lot of people think it's for the rest. Yeah. But nobody puts you down there on the side of things, starts giving you a massage and gives you a nice ice bath.
They do give you water and feed you oranges, though.
Exactly.
Give you water and feed you oranges, something that takes 10 seconds. But the reality is this is the time that the coach has been sitting there and he's saying to you, how did that first half go? Or he's telling you how the first half went. And he's giving you the plan for the second half. Now, 6 days ago, something special happened in this country. You know what it was?
GNU.
No. We were exactly halfway through the year.
Oh, yes.
182nd day of the year. We went through the year. Of course, it's an obvious one. Of course, all you mathematicians know this. So we have literally just got to the half of the year. So I wanted to ask our audience and ourselves to say, how's your year going?
Yeah.
You know, have you met those goals? Are you achieving what you wanted to achieve? Or was this a flop of a year? You know, what's going on? And this is one of the things that Bob Buford writes about. And he says, how is it going? Do you need to make changes?
Yeah.
And if you're going to make changes, this is the time to make the change. This week, you've got to start planning. Even if you're taking a little bit of a break. Yeah. Even if it's cold and for the next 5 days, I can give you credit there. It's cold. You can lie under the duvet for the next 5 days. But the reality is if we want to have a successful 2024, we need to start getting off our bum cheeks and actually start doing something different with our lives. For me, it was a very interesting thing because in my 40s, I saw it completely differently. And sometimes, and I think many of our listeners are here, you get to halftime and you sit and you say, should I have been playing soccer at all? And so many people come and so many people in their careers, you know, you went along, you found the first job, they gave you a job in the bank, you worked there for 25 years and suddenly you're 45 years old and you go and you think, I hate this. And I think this is why you see so many people becoming missionaries in their 40s and just saying, I want something of value. I want to do something that's a little bit better. So there's two angles. The one is, if you're going to keep doing what you're doing, what are you going to do better?
Yeah.
And secondly, if you're going to do something completely different, are you prepared and are you ready for that completely new thing? I want to change my life. I want to move away from something.
So then essentially halftime in this case is more reflection rather than rest. Is that correct?
That's exactly what it is. It's reflection, but with thought for the future.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there. So I watch what happens, and I love to see what's happening in the Springboks. And I'm not as good as some of these other guys are that can actually see the game, understand the tactics. I'm just watching it and screaming and eating biltong.
True story.
But the guys were saying, I was watching afterwards, and the guys said, did you see that Sia was always on the wing and Peter Steff was always on the wing? But in 1 minute they're in the scrum, and then secondly they're both on the wings. And then old Rassie was saying, that's our new tactic. So what happens, we have the scrum, we win the scrum, and we pass it down the side, we pass it down that side. But in the meantime, our two fastest flankers move to the edge, and suddenly our little line is not 7 people, it's 9 people.
Yeah.
And 2 of them are giants. And that's actually one of the tries got scored like that. So these tactics can happen, and this is the tactic of our lives. So what is the tactic that's going to make it better? So I had a terrible April this year. It was deathly quiet, didn't have a single job. So what's my tactic? Am I going to try and make up for it in the second half of this year? Am I just going to swallow it? When I let it happen, or am I going to do something different? And if I do something different, what is that thing?
So halfway mark, there's still an opportunity to change the trajectory of where things could go for you.
I love your language.
It's not over yet.
I love your vocabulary.
Absolutely.
I can't even say that word.
Yeah.
I can say altruism, but I can't say trajectory.
Trajectory. Conscientious,
It's a huge thing, Romeo, that you're saying, is that losing the first half means nothing. Losing the first half means nothing. And this is the choice that we have.
Yeah.
If you had a really bad 2024 so far, things haven't worked out well for you, you can still make it end fantastically well. And some of the best sports teams, sports managers, people that are just goal driven will very often say, I may not have done some things, but if you've learned from your mistakes and you've put some plans together, you can make the second half completely destroy the first half.
Can I just reiterate that if you haven't learned from your failures, you are going to keep repeating them.
Yeah.
That what Andre has just dropped there is an absolute golden nugget. You have to learn from your mistakes so that you can improve and do better in the second half.
And change the trajectory as Romeo.
Absolutely.
How important is it? I'm going to keep the same analogy now. We're using sports, to have a coach who can see the direction of play that you need to take. Because sometimes as a player, we only have a certain perspective or a certain view, but a coach who has the major game plan, the mastermind behind, sees everything there.
You're very clever today. That is such a good question. No, that is just an absolutely brilliant question. If we take it into our spiritual lives, it's exactly the same thing. Without the big coach sitting there and looking and saying, but you didn't do so well there. This could have been slightly better. It is very difficult to see when you're playing the game. One of the ways that we see it in businesses, especially for people like myself and for Tina, where we work for ourselves, we see it in our income. If our income is rubbish, we're not doing so good. But if we actually start doing something good, and we can start being reflected, or people start recognizing us, then we can start saying, yes, we're doing some good. It's critical to have a coach. And, even if you're a normal person and you're not playing in a sports team, I've always encouraged getting mentors, coaches, somebody that can sit there and advise you and said, and I see this little 15-minute interlude on a Monday afternoon as a small coaching session.
Absolutely.
And I think Tina also does that. If your other Tina comes in on Tuesday.
Tina
week.
Cupido.
Yes.
When Tina comes in, I love those because they're little mini coaching sessions. And if you can take that and do the stuff that they've said or that she said, you can actually make a huge difference. So that's a brilliant analogy. It's sometimes very hard. When you actually start being able to do that yourself, is when you're really old and wise. So that's why I think in a sports team, when people say, give it to Willie Leroux, he knows what to do. Because he's checking out the game. He's played 100 games, and now he can see which direction and which to go.
Yeah.
And that's when I think sometimes you can say, okay, I can play a little bit on my own. But I bet you if Willie Leroux goes and says, okay, what we're going to do against Ireland, the coach will tell him, this guy's good at that, this guy's good at that, and this is what you need to do.
Tina Be Alive, I'd want to ask you this question. Let's say I was a part of the first half.
Okay.
The first half didn't go absolutely the way I thought.
Okay.
Maybe I'm 5-0 down in this example and concept.
Okay, so you are Andre.
Yeah.
You're having an off day.
I'm having an off day.
You've missed every kick.
I've missed every kick, right?
Okay.
And I'm sitting down. I've got the big positive guy there, and he's telling me, Romeo, I must do this and this and this. How do I? My self-confidence is almost broken, right?
Or non-existent even at this
Yeah.
point.
Probably even
Yeah.
non-existent. How do I build myself to apply all the action, all the words that Andre has given me? Is it step by step? How do I build that confidence again, and build myself back? Not only to equalize, but to bring it home.
I think
I'm glad you asked Tina that one. That's a hard one.
I think what you've got to do is you've got to break free from that negativity and that judgment and that pressure all of a sudden, because you know you can do it. You've done it before. You've done it 100 times in practice. You've done it probably 50, maybe 100 times in other games and matches. You need to just release that negativity, listen to what the coach is saying. To one of the most sort of more popular people on radio these days, shake it off. Shake it off. Take a deep breath, refocus your mind and listen to what the coach is saying, take it on board. And if you feel that you can't do it, say, coach, listen, I'm not up to scratch today. My head's not in the game. Give it to someone else who can do it for you. Be part of the team. Be a team player instead of always seeking the glory for yourself. If you feel like you can't
also
do it.
really clever today. That was the one I thought you could know, because in the halftime I was shouting at Rossi going, bring on Sasha, bring on Sasha. Because sometimes it just isn't your day.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think takes huge mental courage and strength to say, let's just talk on a daily basis. Used to say, today is not a good day. I've tried and I've done about 5 things and I've messed them all. Sometimes it's time just to get back into bed and we'll start again the next day.
And that's normal.
It's
That's
normal.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tina's
absolutely.
taught me that. I'd beat myself up to a pulp and then I'd say, look, what allows you to? She goes, go back to bed. I mean, in my life I can. But the nice thing is that sometimes we just have to say, I'm not good enough. I don't want to miss out and I see the time's flying. I wanted to say there is a spiritual halftime as well. And in spiritual half times, and it's actually a season, and it's now. It happens right now. And so very often we have a season, and guess what they want to say in the Bible? It's all about rest. It's all about recharging. It's all about reflection.
Resetting.
It's resetting. It's all those wonderful things. So yes, I've used the sports analogy where the rest is limited. But the reality is that we now have 5 days of icy cold. And you don't really want to do anything. You don't want to go in the garden and work, and you don't want to go do things, and you don't want to sit with the kids in the homework.
My brain is frozen. It's not working. What are you talking about?
Sometimes this is a wonderful opportunity for you just to sit back and chill. But remember, chill doesn't mean your brain stops working. This is the time you're saying, so how did this year go? I'm going to sit in the bed. I'm in bed at 6 o'clock, watching the TV. But sometimes it's just time to just turn back and say, what has happened and what's going to happen next week? When you wake up on Monday and the sun is shining and you're still in bed, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Challenging our listeners this afternoon. It's time to reset, rest, and just take some reflection, sitting
and
down.
Listen to the coach.
And listen to the coach. Absolutely. We're running out of time, but very, very beautiful conversation, much needed, very fitting for the time that we're in. Andre, as well as Tina, our listeners. Now, I'm gonna spin this question differently this time around. For someone that is saying, I actually need a coach and I don't know where to start. Now, where can they find you in that regard, in terms of just maybe even referring them to mentors and or coaches?
Well, I actually know a dozen really good coaches. I do coach, but I'm probably quite expensive. But if you're looking for a coach, you're welcome to come ask me or Tina. And if we're not the people for you, we'll refer you to good. There's some amazing good coaches out there. I take a few coaching clients on every month. At the moment, I restrict it to about 3 to 5. I just don't have any more time. But if somebody wants some coaching and stuff like that, phone. I actually have one of my clients. I don't know if she's listening at the moment, Nikki Kemp. She came through from one of these meetings where she listened to Tina speak.
Wow.
Remember when Tina gave her story? And she said, teach me to speak like Tina.
Wow.
And so Andre did.
Well done, Nikki Kemp.
Well, there you have it. Check them out on LinkedIn. That's Andre, the big positive guy, as well as Tina Be Alive.
Thank you so much, Andre and Tina Be Alive.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Stay warm.
Stay warm. Still to come, we've got a couple of bills to pay. And then, of course, getting into some of your